This is Local Edition. I'm Brad Pomerance in Sacramento. Today we are joined by Freddie Rodriguez. He is a member of the California State Assembly. But one of my favorite things about Mr. Rodriguez is while he is still serving in the Assembly, I think one day a month you go back to the district and act as an EMS worker, which is what your job was before you joined the Assembly. Am I right?
Yes, Brad. Yeah. So being up here, Monday through Thursday, I'm in Sacramento. So usually during our summer breaks, right, Easter breaks, and towards the end of session, that's when I try to pick up about 8 to 10 shifts a year. That's what it comes out to me.
But how phenomenal is that you can kind of, you're giving your public service both here and back in the district when you're doing EMS work.
Yeah, it's quite ironic, but it's still something what I love doing. I've been doing it for all my life since I got out of high school,
right,
over 30 years, and the fact that you're able to help people in the time of need.
Let's talk about how you're trying to honor the workers which have stood next to you for decades and continue to stand with you and otherwise. Recently, you sponsored a resolution to declare National EMS Week in our great state of California.
Yes, just recently I passed a resolution honoring the weeks of, I forgot.
Whatever it is, doesn't matter, but National EMS Week.
National EMS Week, and that's just part of my giving thanks back to the first responders here in the state of California, because it's a very difficult job that we do now. Things that we're faced now, we never imagined 20, 30 years ago.
And I think about the responders in your region. I don't think you cover all the way to San Bernardino, but you think about December 2nd. What happened in San Bernardino. You think about recently there was the elementary school shooting in San Bernardino. So within the purview of your community, the Inland Empire, the first responders have been very busy.
Yes, it's challenging things. What we're seeing now, we never would imagine 20, 30 years ago. And the more the reason why that first responders need to be acknowledged for all the hard work they do day in and day out, because it's a very difficult job now across the board.
And let's talk about a bill that you have proposed. I'm surprised we need this bill, but apparently we do. It's the EMS Workers' Bill of Rights. What can you tell us about the background on the bill, why it's needed, and what this bill would accomplish?
Well, this bill, because of my background working in the ambulance industry for over 30 years, AB 263 is pretty much protecting workers' rights for rest and meal breaks and for reporting data, because we live in a day and age now where our first responders deal with a lot of violent incidents with patients, whether mental health or on the influence of drugs.
But here's what's surprising to me. We need our EMS workers to be sharp. We need them to be alert. And you're telling me that they don't get rest breaks?
Well, it's strange enough that sometimes they don't, because it gets so busy.
And I appreciate that. Don't get me wrong. And God bless all of you. When you got to serve, you got to serve. But you would think that there would be protections for that. And
that's what my bill looks to address. If there's time during their busy shift that they can get that guaranteed meal or rest break, that they get it. But if in case they don't, that they get compensated, hopefully by pay time and a half. That's only fair, I believe.
Isn't that the law already?
Well, it is with some issues, but
is it depends on industry?
Ambulance industry is totally different the way they operate.
I understand.
But you know what, Brad? Some companies do a good job of allowing the folks to get their meal and breaks, but others aren't.
How is the bill faring?
It's doing good. It's in appropriations right now.
Good luck.
And I'm looking for it to get out and hopefully take it to the floor.
I want to talk about another area of the Inland Empire. It is right on the edge of that LA County, San Bernardino County line. As you know, the voters of LA County, and you represent a small portion of LA County, passed a sales tax measure, a transportation sales tax. It's the second one they passed in a decade. And what that measure will do is fund more public transportation projects. One of the projects is the extension of the Gold Line, which essentially takes us from downtown through the San Gabriel Valley into communities which you serve.
Yes.
The challenge becomes the extension will take us to the LA County side of the line, to Claremont, but we need to get into Montclair. And part of the reason we want to get into Montclair is so we can get to Ontario Airport. We'll get there in a second. But the sales tax for LA County doesn't get us to Montclair because that's in San Bernardino County. Explain the challenge that you face.
Correct. So right now I'm working with folks here in Sacramento trying to allocate $30 million to get that extension from Claremont into Montclair, the neighboring city, which now brings you into San Bernardino County.
Right.
And the ultimately goal of the goal line is to get us to the airport. But hopefully everything's looking good. I can get that $30 million to help San Bernardino County to get that extension into the city of Montclair.
And why is that important? Explain to me why you got to get that hub Because isn't it only like 300 feet or something? I mean, it's a really small area just to get you into the county.
It's a small portion, really. It's less than a mile.
Yeah, okay, yeah, whatever.
But just the funding mechanism to get it into San Bernardino County, and then the ultimately goal, like I said, is to get it to the Ontario Airport.
And let's talk about Ontario Airport, because I know, sir, I've seen the imagery. You were pivotal.
Yes.
You were part of a very solid team that returned Ontario Airport to local control. What our viewers may not know is LAX actually operated, or LA World Airports operated Ontario Airport, but ultimately the city of Los Angeles, which owned Ontario Airport, worked with leaders like yourself in the San Bernardino County to return Ontario to local control. Why has that been important? And then we'll tie it back into the Gold Line.
Well, that's a big economic hub in the San Gabriel Valley, or Inland Empire, I should say. Ontario Airport was underutilized. It has so much vast open space there that's very important for the community, the city of Ontario, but not just Ontario. You got to look at the whole region. The surrounding cities are going to benefit from it. In its heyday, they said it can probably operate up to 20 million passengers. Right now, it's probably less than 4, but because of local control, we got the airport back to the control of Ontario folks, that now we're starting to see the benefits of it, increase of passengers.
And the beauty of that whole team effort is it was very bipartisan. Folks like yourself, Kurt Hagman, who's a supervisor but had been a Republican leader here in the Assembly, just a lot of bipartisanship coming together. The imagery you can see are all smiles.
Yeah.
So let's bring it back to the Gold Line, because I understand what the hope and dream is now if you get into Montclair, okay, you're now in San Bernardino County, it's a lot easier to then take that Gold Line to Ontario Airport.
And that's the whole purpose of the bill, because, like I said, that's the whole ultimate goal. Because you look at how nice it would be landing at Ontario Airport, get on a rail system and take you to downtown LA. We talk about the Inland Empire with traffic congestion, things of that nature, environmental issues. Well, hey, here's a perfect example of how to address a lot of those issues.
So let's presume we get to Montclair. Who funds, though, the rest of Montclair to Ontario? Because I think San Bernardino County does have a self-help transportation tax, but it probably would need another one if they want to continue that Gold Line extension, no?
I believe so, but I'm looking at all options right now, how we can help address that issue with the San Bernardino folks. But the biggest thing, everybody's on board with supporting this effort, right? With the airport coming back to local control, getting this Gold Line is another component to that as well.
I must ask, whatever one may think of the new administration in Washington, there are efforts by the Trump administration to fund in a massive way infrastructure projects. $1 trillion we're hearing. Could Ontario, Montclair, San Bernardino County, whatever it is, work with the new administration to try to get some funding for that Gold Line extension? Yeah,
and that's part of it. Hopefully so. But the main thing is that everybody's on board with it. That's where you got to start with the bipartisan support from everyone looking at this big issue, because it impacts that whole region.
But the question becomes, how does Ontario get on the top of list? Because look, California has a strange relationship with the new administration, but I mean, President Trump did declare an emergency when we had the Oroville Dam, I believe, and he recently approved the electrification of some transportation lines. So arguably, there's no reason why he shouldn't help Ontario with the extension. How do you make it happen?
You know what, by just bringing that attention to that subject there, bringing that there, because the one thing, everybody's on board, making a case for it. I think if you look at the whole project as a whole, it's ready to go. There's no reason why somebody shouldn't support this.
Okay. His name is Freddie Rodriguez. He is a member of the California City Assembly, representing significant portions of the Inland Empire. My name is Brad Pomerance. I'm so glad you're with us on Local Edition.